Buenas noches, damas y caballeros, chicos y chicas, niños de todas edades. I didn't totally intend to start out in Spanish, but I will give my Spanish viewers the first crack tonight. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages. Welcome to the Karey Carbaugh podcast, episode number 22. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Karey Carbaugh, and I started these podcasts a few months ago. Some of them, like tonight's, are a little bit more applicable to people with vision disabilities. As some of you may know, I have low vision. And as you may have noticed from the title of the podcast, tonight's episode, we're going to talk about positive or effective self-advocacy. And I'll explain what that means as we go through the podcast. I do appreciate you joining me tonight. Let me know if you're joining me live by dropping the word live or an L in the comments. Or if you're watching this on the replay, drop an R or the word replay in the comments. I would greatly appreciate knowing whether you're seeing this live or on the replay. And as I go through this, if you're getting value, let me know that by dropping a V or the word value in the comments. My speech teacher in high school always told me never apologize in advance, but I'm going to apologize in advance for reading. I've got some notes that I want to read tonight and make sure that I catch some details that I don't want to miss. The idea for this podcast came from one of my podcasting friends who's part of a podcasting class that I'm involved with. So shout out to Mitch Race. I hope you don't mind me borrowing some of your ideas from last week on your podcast, the Mitch Race podcast. I invite you all to check him out as well on Facebook or Instagram. This idea came from his podcast, though I'm tweaking it a bit. But as I was watching his podcast last week, I had some aha moments, and so I thought I would share some of that with you. And I'll explain more about that as we go through this as well. But let's jump in here with tonight's topic. And so if I'm reading my phone, I do apologize ahead of time if I'm not looking directly at the camera and looking down at my phone. That's why, because I want to make sure I don't miss any notes. So we're going to talk about effective self-advocacy. And this could also apply if you're advocating for others. If you're a caregiver, if you're a family member of someone with a difficulty, a disability, or some other condition that needs some advocacy. Much of what I'm going to talk about tonight would also apply to that. So we're going to talk about 8 steps or strategies to effective self-advocacy. 6 of them have to do with confidence and assertiveness in a positive way. So 6 of them are do's, if you will, and 2 of them are don'ts. And they deal with militancy. And this was one of the aha things that occurred to me. So I added some things about militancy to some of what Mitch presented. But I'll just run through the 8 steps real quick, and then we'll go back and we'll dive into each one of them. Step number 1, be confident in your abilities, needs, and opinions. Step number 2, communicate your needs and preferences using I statements. Step number 3, observe assertive behaviors of others. Step number 4, practice assertive skills. Step number 5, learn to handle conflict positively. And step number 6, value yourself and believe in your capabilities. Now moving on to the two don'ts, if you will, things dealing with militancy. Number 1, avoid being combative and aggressive. Step number 2, avoid violent or confrontational methods. Now let's go back and unpack each one of these one by one, and I'll dig into these a little bit more in detail. Once again, if you're getting value, let me know that by dropping a V or the word value in the comments. So number 1, the first 6 are positive things, or do's if you will, dealing with confidence and assertiveness. So step number 1, be confident in your abilities, needs, and opinions. In other words, state your abilities clearly, your needs and your opinions. Be confident. Don't be wishy-washy. Don't beat around the bush. Let people know what you're able to do, what your needs are, and what your opinions are. State them clearly in a positive manner. Step number 2, communicate your needs and preferences using I statements without being accusatory or aggressive. What do I mean by this? By this, I mean state your preferences. State your sorry, I'm just making sure I don't miss this. State your needs and preferences. So if you need help with something, use I statements. I need help getting to and from an activity. I need help with transportation. Not general statements like people who have vision disabilities need help walking down the street. That may not be true of all people with vision disabilities. If you need help getting from point A to point B, state that clearly using I statements. Not in a confrontational or combative way or aggressive way. Simply state your needs and your preferences. Step number 3, and there's a lot of overlap between some of these steps. Step number 3, observe assertive behaviors of others. So if you know people who are assertive and who are positive role models, watch them, observe them, listen to what they say. People who are effective communicators, we can all learn from those people. Listen to how they frame things, and then try and model what you are trying to say using statements that are similar to those people that you're trying to emulate, or people that you respect and look up to as effective communicators. Step number 4, practice assertive skills. Learn to handle feedback constructively. And, sorry, my phone just jumped here. Learn to handle feedback constructively while setting healthy boundaries. Practice saying no. So what does all of this mean? Well, if we go back to the beginning of this one, practice assertive skills. So assert your needs and your wants, and if something is beyond what you're able to do or what you want to do, practice saying no. You don't always have to say yes to everything and overwhelm yourself and oftentimes overwhelm those people around you. It's okay sometimes to say no. So practice that. Practice being assertive. And then be open to the feedback of those around you. If people say, hey, you know, that rubbed me the wrong way. You were pretty aggressive with that statement. Then learn from that and try and back off a little, at least around that person. So model your communications to fit those people around you in order to effectively communicate your needs to those people. We don't all communicate in the same manner. Some of us like more direct communication, some of us don't. And so by practicing assertive behaviors, accepting constructive criticism, not just criticism, but constructive criticism, and practicing saying no. These things can help in effective communication in a manner that reaches those people around you. Step number 5. Learn to handle conflict positively. What do I mean by this one? This one is as much for myself as anybody else, actually. I try to avoid conflict, but oftentimes you can't avoid it. And so when you get in a situation of conflict, handle it in a positive manner. Try not to be accusatory of that other person. They probably have a perspective and an opinion that may be different than yours, but may be shaped by their life experiences. So in dealing with those confrontations, those what's the word I'm looking for? Conflict. In dealing with those conflicts, find positive ways to address them. Talk about them with the people around you. If you're in a situation of conflict or confrontation, let the other person state their opinion, and then state your opinion using some of these techniques that we've talked about in a positive manner in order to hopefully reach a compromise or an acceptable position for both. And the last one of the positives here, if you will, is value yourself and believe in your own capabilities. So don't sell yourself short. Value your own abilities and capabilities. And I will add to that, value the capabilities and abilities of those around you. Work together. Use what you're good at. Use what people around you are good at. And in doing so, that'll help a lot of times with conflict resolution in a positive manner, but it can help you get what you need and want, and it'll help the people around you get what they need and want. And as we move into our final two here, and as soon as I go through these, I'll explain kind of why I did this way. The final two deal with what I would call militant behaviors or militancy. Things to avoid in order to reach the positive communications that we've set out in the first 6 steps. Number 1, avoid being combative and aggressive. We talked about this a little bit already. So if you have needs, state your needs, but don't be aggressive about them. If you have desires, try to value the other person and their opinion rather than being aggressive and saying, I need this right now, and if you don't give it to me, I'm going to do this and such. Those are things to try to avoid because that puts the other person on the defensive. And number 2 is avoid violent or confrontational methods. Violent, what do I mean by violent? Not necessarily like super violent, but even, shaking your fist at someone can be violent. For effective communication and effective means of advocating for yourself, that's usually not a good thing to shake your fist or point your finger or be combative and argumentative toward the other person who may share a differing opinion or have a differing opinion. By avoiding some of these more militant behaviors, we can all work better together and achieve more commonality and common goals. The reason that I stuck these 2 on at the end, I mentioned earlier that I had some aha moments while watching my brother Mitch's podcast. It occurred to me that part of the reason that I don't tend to get involved in groups dealing with or groups of blind and visually impaired people, many times these groups can be more militant in their activities and in their approaches. And to me, that's just not my style. I suppose there can be a place for that in achieving some legislative changes sometimes, but I think if we take a more positive approach, we can ultimately get to the same goal and have more people in agreement with that goal than if we go through a militant path and an aggressive path to try to achieve the same goal. Then we're met with resistance, and even if we achieve the goal, people will often not be on board with that goal or that policy or practice. So by working together in a positive manner using the first 6 steps that I mentioned, it's my belief that we can achieve a more positive outcome to the same goals that one might achieve by being more militant. So that's why I wanted to share that tonight, because it occurred to me, part of the reason that I've been avoiding, I've had people tell me that I should do some of these podcasts on overcoming vision disabilities and so forth. Part of it is that I've lived with it my whole life. So it's not something that I've had to learn to overcome, really. It's just been a part of who I am my entire life. And part of it, though, is truly when I've been around other blind and visually impaired people. Not all. I have some very dear friends who are blind and visually impaired, but oftentimes as a group, they can be much more militant and aggressive, which for me and my style doesn't work. Now, in full transparency and in cooperative communication, if you disagree with me, let me know that in the comments. I'm certainly open to that. If you feel that this approach is too soft, let me know. I'd be very interested in having an open discussion and an open dialogue. But I wanted to come on here and share some, hopefully, value. Hopefully you got value from this, from my perspective, and tagging off of some of what Mitch shared in his podcast, and some of the things that were aha moments to me. So that's what I had to share with you tonight. I hope you found value. If you did, let me know in the comments. If you'd like to be added to my email list, let me know that as well by dropping the word email in the comments or by direct messaging me your email address. And I would be happy to add you to my email list. I haven't started sending regular emails yet, but I hope to in the very near future. And I hope to start some more private events with some of those people who are interested in diving into some of this a little bit deeper. So if that's you, let me know, and we can connect offline by email and get you plugged into some of my other stuff that I'm working on. So with that, I will let you get on with your evening or your day, depending on whether you're watching this live or on the replay. I sincerely appreciate your time and all of your support through these podcasts. It's been quite a journey thus far, and I trust that it will continue as long as you all are getting value. So with that, have a blessed evening and a blessed rest of your week until I pop on again, whether that's next Wednesday or possibly for a short stint, a little short video in the meantime. So have a great week. Have a blessed week. Make it a blessing to others. Do something positive for those people around you. With that, have a great night, and we'll talk soon. Goodbye for now.